Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Emerald, Doctor of Chiropractic. This is
Kat Garcia, licensed professional counselor.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
And this is Painting Wellness. Today we are going to be talking about physical and mental hurdles affecting sleep. Full disclosure, I wrote this because I couldn't sleep, and so I thought, hey, let's talk about this.
Well, better time.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I can't sleep, I'm going to write about sleeping and then talk about sleeping while I want to sleep. So,
and you're not sleeping.
No, I'm not through this because this is not a snooze fest.
It is
this
not.
Is going to be most excellent information. We're going to be giving you 3 things to try out to help improve your sleep, and that is going to be later on in this episode. But first, let's get a better idea of why this is even a topic. I think it goes without saying many of us have a hard time sleeping. Mm-hmm. In 2016, the CDC found in one of their studies that 1 in 3 adults have a problem sleeping where they're actually getting less than 7 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's probably on the low end of things.
What do you mean? Like, you think that there's more people?
Oh, I think there's more people that struggle with sleep.
I mean, if 7 hours is the standard, that seems really high.
It does, because I think generally they would like, in the article that I was reading, they want over 7 to 10 hours of sleep, depending on the individual, their age. And I don't know many people that like truly get consistently 7 hours of sleep.
Yeah. And we're talking about restful sleep, not just, okay, my eyeballs are closed, but
I'm like rolling around.
I'm rolling and being uncomfortable. It's like actual, and one of the things is that it's important to state that you are not in REM sleep the entire night. REM sleep comes in cycles of 90 minutes, but it's being able to actually get to the REM sleep cycles that allows us to rest. And 7 hours seems like an awful long time. I know that as we get older, we might need less sleep, right?
Yeah, generally as we get older, we need less sleep, but there's also so many benefits of still maintaining good sleep hygiene and sleep habits for your health. Like, some of those things are going to be improvement in clarity. Your brain is detoxing while you're sleeping, and it's really like an important piece for your immune system too. So like, if someone is struggling with sleep consistently, then like that's going to affect how they interact with their family, their friends, at work.
Absolutely.
Even their health. Like, that's a big one, and not just like, oh, I'm going to get the flu more often. That could be compounded down the road, where we could even get some mental health issues, Alzheimer's, these type of degenerative problems, as well as it's going to be really hard for your immune system, which could cause like autoimmune issues where your body is attacking self. So that's what we're wanting to at least start the conversation around today is how can we help? How can we, not necessarily you and I helping, but like how can we help ourselves as we're figuring this stuff out?
Absolutely. And I think that one of the biggest things that's important is, first of all, identifying if you are in fact not sleeping. The first thing I want to say is, if you're not sleeping, please go get assessed to make sure you don't have sleep apnea, because that's one of the biggest things. People are tired all the time, but we're going to assume you're not having sleep apnea, and the things we're going to talk about are based on non-sleep apnea.
Yeah. Do you want to go into just very quickly like what sleep apnea is, so then we'll just no confusion around that?
So sleep apnea is when we stop breathing in our sleep, and it can cause all sorts of additional medical issues. That's where we have the CPAPs, and they have to do sleep studies in order to diagnose that. But a lot of times our partners can be like, oh, you stopped breathing in the middle of the night. A lot of times it's indicated by snoring, or gasping for air in the middle of the night. So we want to make sure that if you are having those symptoms and you are feeling fatigued and all that you do go to a doctor and get assessed for that and go to sleep study and get that taken care of.
Yeah, that's a big one, and it seems that's another one on the rise too. And even if you do get a sleep study and they find that you don't have quote unquote true diagnosable sleep apnea, you could still be really struggling with a lot of the effects because you could be snoring, you could be having a hard time breathing, which all like really compounds a lot of these things.
Absolutely. And I think so, whether it's because we are having a lot of stress, we have sleep apnea, we have other physical discomforts, again, other medical concerns, we have medications that maybe are keeping us up. We really need to sort of try to identify what it is that's causing us to not sleep well. That doesn't mean that it's resolvable just like that. I mean, maybe if you have a medication that doesn't let you sleep, you could talk to your doctor, change medications. But the reality is that if we have long-term physical discomfort or anxiety, depression, things like that, like stress at work, you can't just, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to ever have stress, so I'm going to be able to sleep. It's going to be awesome. So really kind of identifying what those triggers are for your sleep and figuring out, what are some of the patterns that are happening during the day when you are not getting enough sleep.
Yeah, I think that's a big one, and this is where I would really recommend like writing down what you feel are some of those big triggers, because it's probably not just one thing. They probably all feed into each other. So if, let's just say, for example, you are having stress at work, well, that could really cause some stuff where not only is your anxiety really rising, that maybe then you're not moving as much, so you're not exercising. So then like that's starting to get into the mental health again, and the physical being a lot of tension. So it really can feed into each other. So writing these things down, and then as you said, as you're going throughout the day, taking note, because there's so many times that we kind of forget as we are going throughout the day of the things that are bothering us, until we take stock of it and we're like, oh yeah, I do struggle with that, or I do feel kind of some brain fog, or I forget, which is why I forget until I write it down that I'm experiencing these things. So I know, Kat, you certainly have talked with me about ways to help with my sleep. So I know that you are well versed in this, and then myself working with a lot of individuals around helping their body be more relaxed, holding less tension, being more comfortable. So, a lot of experience right here on this couch on helping people through this. Is there like any big things that you find are really like helpful when going through and kind of devising an initial plan for someone to even just figure out baby steps of what to do?
Absolutely. It's funny you say baby steps, because I was just telling you that I call it the baby routine. When we have kids, for those of us that have children or know people that have children, we know that we have to, for kids to have a good night, we usually do a sleep routine with them. So a lot of times, like, we feed them, we bathe them, we cuddle them, we read to them. It's a standard routine, and for adults we call that sleep hygiene. But it's just like a baby routine, and so being sure that you have a routine at night that really starts indicating to your body that it's time to produce melatonin, that you are going to get ready to go to sleep. So when we do the same things over and over, we tend to have our body start relaxing, and then our body knows, hey, it's night time. So that includes, if you have dinner, usually at a certain time, if you shower, wash your face, and you put your lotions and potions, maybe you read, maybe you watch a little bit of TV and then go to bed. So having a pattern of things you do before bed, again, we call that sleep hygiene, but those routines, those nighttime routines, do create a pattern that our brain recognizes and produces melatonin. And some of those that I always, within the sleep routine, I know that it's really important that we talk about lighting. You can't have a big light on. Your brain does not produce melatonin if there's big lights on. So even lamps. So if we can get like maybe a night light, if you have to. Some people need to sleep with sound machines on, and that's fine. I hear a lot of people say, well, I'd leave my TV on. Please don't do that. Even the white noise is, your brain is trying to pick up what's happening. So put a sound machine on. It's much, much better than having the TV on. And so creating that space in your bed. where your brain starts producing that melatonin. It's nighttime.
Yeah. I think those are really great ones. And with the nightlight, I really recommend people put that in their bathroom, especially if they're finding that they're having to get up a few times throughout the night to go to the bathroom. But also, like, because we tend to have mirrors in there, that amplifies the light and the receptors for our brain. And the lights in the bathroom tend to just be... Our brains are more sensitive to that. So having a dimmer or a softer light in there can be really helpful.
Yeah.
And I love that. And, places that I've been at where there's a TV on there. This is just like a weird Dr. Emerald thing. I always cover the TVs, like with, I don't know, a sheet or a blanket or something. Even it's not even on. It's just like I don't even like having the TV in there. But you also mentioned having I believe you said relaxing space for your bed. I think that is a huge, huge, huge one.
Absolutely.
If you do not feel relaxed in your bedroom, in your bed, that's going to make that whole routine much, much harder.
Yeah.
And that could probably be like one of the top things in that sleep hygiene is make sure that you feel like that is your den, that is your safe place.
Is your safe space. And one of the things I always encourage people, your bed should really be used for sleeping, for sex, and maybe reading. You shouldn't be eating on your bed. You shouldn't be working on your bed or anything like that, because our brains are not correlating bed is to sleep.
Yeah.
And I know we're like, well, I'm not stupid, but it's just a psychological thing. So when you find your bed, and I love when people's like, I'm so tired, I cannot wait to get to my bed. That's what we're hoping for, is that idea of like, oh, bed, nighttime.
Yeah.
I love my bed. I love my room. It's safe. It's cozy. I want to go to bed. And so really creating that space that you associate it with, I'm going to sleep. Which brings us to the electronics and the TVs in the bedrooms. Not a huge fan of TV in bedrooms. But I know that we have talked about electronics in the past.
Yeah, I mean, the electronics, that's always a big one, and I'm the first to say, like, I get it. We love our electronics, but we, trying to figure out that balance. And so if we can even just make a commitment to ourselves that we're going to put those electronics down 30 minutes prior to going to sleep, that would be, like, I think really, really helpful for a lot of people in helping them get into those patterns of sleep, starting to calm their brain down a little bit so then they can connect with their partner or just have some quiet time for themselves, and even read or journal. Like, journaling is one that I have found in the past really helpful, where I can just put all those anxiety type things on a piece of paper and then leave that there. But yeah, the electronics, put them down, put them away. I would almost even say, like, put them across the room so that they're not right next to the head.
Absolutely. And I think, one of the things that you just said, like journaling, a lot of times we are very anxious during the day, and we have a lot of things going on. We're busy people. And so when we go to bed, a lot of times we ruminate or we think things all night, and we're like, oh my God, I'm thinking, and I can't sleep. When we have a piece of paper, we can jot down what we're thinking, because a lot of times that overthinking at night is because we don't want to forget about things that we need to get done. And so when we're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this and this and this. Okay, well, put it on your little notebook and go to bed. It's almost like a purge for the night. You don't need to be thinking about it because you're not going to forget it because you wrote it. And that way you don't have to be thinking about it all night long. And I get it, like, people love to, like, do their social media. That's how they decompress, and that's fine, but I would encourage you most definitely to put that away at least minimum 30 minutes before you go to bed. Make it just part of your sleep routine. And then, there's the temperature, which here in Arizona we're melting. But temperature, there's lots of studies that found that cooler temperatures in bedrooms actually help you sleep better. So for those of you that like to be warm, get some covers, but most definitely try to keep that temperature lower in the bedroom.
Yeah, that's a good one. And so the final one that we're going to recommend, so we've covered, like, getting a sleep routine. That's a big one. Making sure that your sleep area is relaxing and inviting to you. Putting electronics away, so maybe we can do some journaling, decompressing that way. And you said keeping the temperature a little bit cooler in the bedroom. And that can be really, really helpful for the body and allowing it to decompress itself. That's the big one that I hear a lot of is I feel so tense when I go to sleep and I feel tense when I wake up. So something that I recommend for people to do is do some light stretching, right? So it could be yoga, but think of yin yoga where we're holding poses a little bit longer and focusing on our breath. I think that's the big connector with this is slowing our breath down, calming our body, getting into a rest and digest state. Or if you have a partner or someone in the room with you, try some massage where you're being really intentional about allowing for your body to relax. I especially love and recommend doing like foot massage because that can really ground the body, which can be very helpful if we're feeling really wound up from the day, that we can focus in.
A lot of partners are going to be like, hey, the doc said foot
doctor's
massage.
orders. Yeah. So get on that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great tools here that we can start to utilize. Our big recommendation is to choose one of these, give it a go for a couple of weeks, make it attainable. Don't feel like you have to implement all of these all at once, or that it has to be a big production. We're looking for consistency here.
Absolutely.
I think that's the big thing, and you may not necessarily find a big change right away. It could take a couple of weeks, especially as Kat, you had said, like when we're creating patterns, we want to create that consistency with that.
Yeah.
If this is feeling overwhelming, certainly, reach out to us, leave us a comment, or reach out to your local chiropractor or mental health provider if you are not in the Gilbert area. Certainly what we want to see people starting to transition to, if you're struggling with this, is having better mental clarity, feeling healthier in your body, and one that we didn't even really touch on yet is feeling less irritable, being in better moods.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much that we can talk about when it comes to sleep hygiene and mental health and all those things. And obviously, we mentioned like having trouble focusing at work and with family and friends and almost not being present. But when we don't sleep well, we become very irritable, and and we can talk more about that in the next podcast. But really knowing that when we don't sleep, our brain produces way more cortisol, which is that fight or flight stress hormone. And so that starts a whole thing, right? Of, okay, if I don't sleep, I produce more cortisol. If I have more cortisol, I don't sleep. And that can cause a lot of problems, including the irritability and a weight gain. And a lot of people are like, I don't understand. I don't know why I'm gaining weight, or I can't lose weight. And then we figure out, oh, you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
That's a thing. So, being irritable, having increased anxiety, having increased panic attacks, feeling more depressed, increase in fatigue, all of those things are associated with lack of sleep.
Yeah, and all of those I would even say is like more immediate things that we're experiencing. This doesn't even really cover the long-term effects of chronic sleep loss or deprivation, where as the body is struggling through all this, we're going to be having more, like your brain is not able to detox as well, which can lead to other things like Alzheimer's, dementia, which are, that can take years or decades. We're still like figuring that type of stuff out, but we just know that there is a correlation there. So making sure that we're making sleep a priority is such a big, I think, like force multiplier for our overall health and our body. So is there any other things that you wanted to add on this one, Kat?
No, I think just make sure that you're trying some of this, one of these at least, be consistent with it. And just, again, there's lots of different ways that you can try to implement some of these, and they're not hard. So don't try to make it super overcomplicated. And sleep is such an important part, and I think that we need to pay more attention to it.
Yeah, definitely. So to recap on this, like in 2016, the CDC found that 1 in 3 adults aren't getting enough sleep, which is less than 7 hours. Strong feeling that that's actually on the low side of people not getting enough sleep. So if you find yourself in one of these percentages, right? Where you're feeling not able to focus, you're having more irritability, immune system problems, this could be you. Make sure that you're talking to your primary care. They will determine if you need to get a sleep study done. Some things that you can do to help, or at least start to shift the direction, is to do things like creating a sleep habit or sleep hygiene where you are making patterns for yourself so your body is able to recognize when it is getting close to sleep and when it is time to sleep. Making sure that your bedroom and your bed is an inviting, safe place so you're able to relax. No caffeine or we didn't even really get into this one. Sorry, I just thrown this one in there. After 2 p.m. No electronics if we can, 30 minutes prior to sleep, and try some stretching, yoga, or even massage if that is going to help calm your system down. So by doing these things, we can be more focused, we can be more aware and present with our family, our friends, able to live our lives, and that's ultimately what we are here to help you achieve. So, Kat, anything else that I missed on that?
You did great. Awesome. That's fantastic.
Man, I need to get a tally sheet on this because I am crushing it.
Yeah, you are.
So, everyone, this has been another episode of Pain and Wellness. I'm Dr. Emerald, Doctor of Chiropractic.
I'm Kat Garcia, licensed professional counselor.
Check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and the Tiki Talks, as Kat likes to say. Till next time, bye.
Bye.
I'm ready to go. I've got koi socks on today, so I'm just ready to flow.
Are you being coy?
Yeah, I'm being coy. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
And I've got dragonflies on my. I just actually noticed that.
Let me
too.
see. So it's koi on one and dragonflies on. Oh, look at that! And look at that! And you got special dragonflies. Some of them are yellow.
Ooh, some yellow.
Only random ones.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're so
that's
nature.
Even like. I'm good. I'm good.
You're like, I'm so good. Look at my socks.
White with white. Oh.
And the yellow. Oh, look at. You just don't even have to try.
It's just.
It just
well,
comes
it's
naturally.
easy when like I go desert palette and everything kind of